Walt.
Really?
Walter
Welcome
White.
to Beachside Tech Talk, episode number 89. We're talking about how creativity is being impacted by Web3 and AI. Ted, welcome to the Beachside, my friend. There it is. You and Malachi just did a conversation for an hour.
Oh,
here.
I was stoked about that, man. Yay. It's released. It's live. It's at the Innovate podcast, wherever podcasts are found, as long as that's YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. I'm not sure if we're on any other ones, but those three places where podcasts are found, the Innovate podcast, Innovate spelt with a 3 rather than the last E. If you want to know why, it's because it's really hard to get Innovate as a URL. So you got to misspell it. But also because we believe in Web3. And now I'm cool. I feel like I'm certified cool because I had a conversation with Malachi.
You do that to people.
What an incredible,
I think we're all
just professional accomplishment.
We're going to have a conversation with Nigel Wright, the gratitude champion, who knows so much about the way the AI works. I mean, we're talking about creativity today. What are some really cool ways that you guys have been able to find AI actually having good application?
So much fun with it.
I have an interesting thought on that. Can I share something?
Please.
We need it. We need whatever you got.
I watched iRobot with the Will Smith, kind of loosely based on Isaac Asimov. And there was a line in there that was interesting because the movie's not that old, like 10 years, 5, I don't know, however many years. It's not super old. But it was pre-Chat GPT. And there's a line in there where he says to the robot, can you compose a symphony? Can you create a masterpiece? And the robot throws back at him, can you? And so, but like, I'm just thinking about our pop culture vision of robots. The robots were extremely dexterous, like they're superhumans. They're jumping all around, and like they're very strong. They're super athletes. Okay. So back only 10 years ago, we envisioned robots as having an edge over human beings athletically. Okay. But we envisioned humans still owning the creative front. And now it's like, no, robots kick our butts in the creative front. They can compose a symphony. They can create a painting. They can do this. And like, they're very, very good at it. And they're still way behind at us physically. Like,
Well, especially the specimen.
Yeah, especially me. So like in this movie, one of the plot twists is that Will Smith, who really hates robots because he's got a prejudice about them. He's actually a cyborg because he has a robotic arm, and it was kind of a secret because it was far more than people thought. So he's got like an Iron Man arm, but nowadays they'd have to see that his Iron Man arm was weaker than his natural arm, which would have been interesting. That would be a funny, different movie where the robots are singing songs, painting incredible paintings, but whenever they fought with humans, they're like the Star Wars robots where the Jedi just run right through them. They suck.
The Star Wars robots are totally useless in any sort of combat.
Useless.
It's funny.
I feel like
Star Wars was right though. Wow, that's interesting.
It's interesting looking at different just pop fiction or just things that we've created and seeing which of them have become more true than the other ones. Like I imagine the Star Wars robots probably aren't going to be the route we go down. I think we're going to want robots to be a lot better than that. But yet Star Wars had some really cool advancements in other ways. And they also had some really cool things that we didn't really think of yet, but that probably would exist. It's interesting looking at all those different things.
Yeah, Star Wars got rid of wheels with gravity fields, so everything hovers. Sorry, I cut you off, Ian. Please speak now.
We're just getting started. We're just going to start. I do think that creativity is most positively impacted in the world with things like Web3 and AI. The way that some musicians, artists, creators, culture builders have been able to be compensated because they've built Web3 approaches to things is incredible. I mean, it's so impacted creativity. It got people completely all engaged together in these exclusive communities and in these inclusive communities. Like for me, Web3 has radically impacted creativity and art in a really, really positive way. And I think AI also has been primarily strongly positive. I think it's wonderful that people are learning how to use these tools and being able to see things come to life quickly. And I think there's so many positive things with it. So for me, I think this is a really cool topic. And I'm looking forward maybe to some of you guys and lady sharing like your favorite tools that you use. Or I've been thinking about like moments that were really powerful, like the big wow moment. I think the biggest AI wow moment for me was actually when I got the first Alexa speaker in 2014. I just couldn't believe I could talk to the speaker and it would just do things, not super complicated things, but it would share things with me. And, I had friends at that time that were like, their curtains would go up and down, their coffee machine would turn on, or their shower would turn on, and like a message would go out to their staff. And I thought to myself, like, wow, this is really incredible. And that was a decade ago. I think that these tools will continue to make little cool improvements for lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people. And I think that's very exciting. I'm glad it's not limited. Could you imagine if only this select few could use Web3 or AI? I'm so glad it's available.
That would be I think it's interesting to see how with all the different technologies that have made life so different throughout civilization, many of them are only usable for the select few, but yet some of them have been usable for everyone. I mean, if you look at the way that it usually happens, it starts out as something that only a few people get, but then slowly it just becomes more and more used by everyone. I mean, in a way, Web3 is something that everybody wants people to be using, but not everybody is using it yet. And hopefully, eventually, it's going to get to the point where it becomes inevitable that it's useful. I don't know. That's what I see.
Well, Web3 always, like Web3 is interesting because it's kind of like it's a rebuilding of our technology infrastructure as opposed to building upon the technology infrastructure, which is quite different. And it's a different way of thinking and understanding it all. So yeah, I think Web3 is going to really fulfill its destiny when it becomes ubiquitous and no one's really thinking that they're using Web3. It's just the standard that's expected.
But you know what?
Being decentralized, secure.
Yeah, the reality is that many people nowadays, I don't know here, but in the Philippines, are going back to Web 2. They feel like they are more secured with the Web 2.
They had bad experiences.
Yes, of the Web 3. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just like they're not well educated about the Web 3. And that is why I am trying to, on social media, I'm trying to help people understand how helpful Web3 can be in their everyday lives, whether you are a student, an entrepreneur, a teacher, a professor, or whatever. So, as a Web3 simplifier, I'm helping them understanding how useful the Web3 is compared to Web 1 and Web 2. Although it's not easy because everything depends on what they're actually doing. So according to our Filipino team, especially to Clark, our designer, he said that he noticed that there are many people are trying to go back to Web 2 because they feel safer in Web 2. I don't know if that is true, but that's also how he could see people are doing now in the Philippines.
Yeah, it's almost like a post Web3
Mhm.
response when Web3, because they were the number one blockchain wallets in the
Yes.
world,
Mhm.
and number one, number two, number three across a lot of Web3 things. So it came really hard and fast into a place that's fairly impoverished. And obviously, if you have a strong majority of people having bad experiences, um, and whether they lose money or not, just the letdown of what they expect to have happen, and
Mhm.
that doesn't happen, it could drive people back. The thing is, this community spends almost 12 hours a day on their phones. So
Not only
the
that,
amount
it's the
of
complication. Like it's very for them, it's very complicated.
remember
Um,
your
yes,
keys,
seed phrase.
yeah,
So
get
it's.
access in different
But I
devices,
found out
protecting your devices from
here's the best thing
people.
with Base. Do you know that Base now is creating something that you can create in their mini app where you don't need to the Base will be the one to create a wallet for you.
Mhm.
What I'm trying to say
It-
is that if you have
They're
a
making
mini
it
app,
easier and easier.
yes. So what do you have to do? Let's say, for example, we'll put Attention Live in the mini app. All they have to do is to sign up. Once they're signed up, they'll be surprised. Whoa, I already have a wallet. I didn't even create this. Base created it for them. They
Right.
don't need to create seed phrase. And what they have to secure is only their phone number or their email address. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best thing. Why I don't know why the Base doing this, but for me, I believe
Well, people are just trying to make it easier.
yeah,
Solana's
easier.
making it easier.
Mhm.
MetaMask is making it
You're
easier.
right.
They're letting people do Gmail logins and
Mhm.
things of this nature. This is, you know, kind of hopefully re-pendulum swinging people back. But the thing is that when you look at the impact upon, creativity with the tools, a lot of people, they ebb and flow from Web3 excitement, which usually has to do with like speculative investing and
Mhm.
gambling, more or less, or maybe being part of communities. And then AI is like, oh, this is either fun and engaging, or how can I make money from this, or how do and so people kind of go back and forth between
It's
these
just the
two
process. Imagine you will talk to
when it comes to creativity,
a web two
especially.
person. You will say like this: "Oh, you have to create a MetaMask account. Okay, here's what you have to do. Oh, now you have a MetaMask account, and then how are you going to use this? Okay, use our Attention Live. Oh, I cannot mint because you have to put money in there. How can I put money in my MetaMask? You have to do this. You have to do. So
Yeah, it's
there
really
are
difficult.
many things to do,
Right.
and that is why I'm so happy when I heard that Base is creating this kind of thing, which can be very helpful for us.
Yeah.
Someday, sooner.
I agree.
What are you all thinking? Yeah.
I'm all for breaking down the barriers so it's easier. That was my point. And I think the onus is on people like Base, like Hedera and others, to make the ecosystem very smooth and easy. And it's not you use this metaphor, Ian. It's not the Base. They're the Rebel Alliance, the Web3 Rebel Alliance versus the evil empire. That's the wrong metaphor. We've got to think is aligning all the interests. And that's why I love Hedera's approach, because if you get these world leading enterprise organizations that are trillion plus companies, their interests aligned with Web3, then you'll create a situation where it's never going to go down, because you've got the world's absolute best. Butts are on the line. If it goes down, they're going to make sure it doesn't go down. But having said that, I had a problem with Eventbrite. I couldn't register because of the AWS, the biggest server. I mean, they're huge, and they went down. So I guess anything can happen.
It's true.
Anything can certainly happen.
What were you using Eventbrite for?
I was registering for an event, the All-In event put on November 1st here in the Bay Area, and it's Faith Work Tech. They're having a conference, so I was registering for that. And then I'm also using Eventbrite for a little intimate dinner we're having at our house on Sunday evening. So it went. I couldn't register for that event, and and had to wait. And, I mean, they got it up, but I was surprised at how long it was down, and it was huge. It was all over, man. And then they got it back up, and then it went back down again, and took several hours.
Well, that's always terrible when that happens. But let's talk offline. I might have something. I might have an alternative for you. There might
There's
be
lots of alternatives.
not like this one.
Creative
Not
alternative.
that I'm mentioning. There are always
Well, hey, you
alternatives.
promote it online. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not fair to promote it online.
Like I said, if there's an alternative, but the one that I'm talking about. So let's talk offline.
Great.
The fact that was down, it just seemed helpful. I think there's like you said, there's plenty of opportunities for all different things. And to your point, aligning interest by itself is not enough. First, the interests need to be transparent. Because to me, I feel like when people, if you're concerned about being upfront with someone, there's probably something you're going to tell them that they don't like that's going to impact the way they do business with you. But to me, the honesty is just even better. If somebody's just say, I'm here to just make money. Business people understand this. They have salespeople who don't act right, but they sell and they stay. They do all sorts of things, but they bring in the numbers. And it's not like people don't know that they're doing these things. They know, but it's accepted because they sell, and they never make any secret about what it is. And to me, and I'm not saying advocating doing that, but I will say this: that is a more honest approach than someone who cloaks themselves in benevolence while they're digging in your pocket because of something else.
Absolutely.
And that is something that I don't see people jumping out in front of. I get it, but they're not. Coinbase is great, but they also have a lot of support. And what I feel like the whole Web3 initial democratized piece was the we the people, everybody getting together. But I feel like it's still too disparate. Like we're not getting together the way we used to. When it's not that, like, I'll align with you if I can make money.
That's right.
I won't align with you to build something greater on its face. It has to be, I need to get this bread or whatever the case may be. That's a big factor, and I get it. But that, like, when that in of itself is the thing, the moment you're not making, or it goes a different way, or someone misrepresented, it's over. It's just plain over. And it's always been that way. It's never been different. You could present it differently, but it's never been different in that way. I think the support that comes with any technology being adopted is exactly what we've seen, dare I say, at Attention Live. I remember going to NFT NYC. I didn't know anything about Web3 at all. And there was a bunch of people running around, and folks were like, do this, do that. But you know what they were doing? They were holding your hand and going through it. Click here, click there. Did I understand everything at first? No. I mean, I have a bit of a background, so it might be a little bit easier. But lots of people who didn't understand were working through it and figuring it out. It was a very community-driven, helpful space. And a lot of this happens that people, in places people don't see. Like Coinbase is giving away millions of dollars, I believe, from Learn Crypto will give you crypto. Click on a couple of learning rewards or something like that. It was called.
They got their own credit cards, man.
Oh yeah. So you learning rewards. They give you $10, $15 here or there, and that was the incentive to go ahead and do it. I think that people don't have enough incentive to do some of the things that we want them to do. The incentive doesn't necessarily have to be money. The incentive could very well be support. The incentive could be ease. Having had a technology background, not that I'm the be-all expert or anything, I will say this: to me, technology that's not easy to use, like for everybody, is not good technology. It is really that simple. Sure. If someone can stand out in front of a piece of technology and go, let me put you up on this. I'm, I know this and I know that. And, like you click this and, you got to really, dive in and they're going PhD level. That's not good technology. I remember this when the Mac first came out, because that's where I first learned, and the IBM PC or compatibles. And I remember I would have this argument all the time because I'm a practical dude. I remember having a bunch of technology people high up in the game, higher than me, arguing about why the PC was better. Oh, that Mac, it's a toy. Look at this. When I put my mouse in, I have to load this program. I was like, well, that's dumb, because all I have to do with my Mac is plug it in. And if you think that you could possibly explain how loading a program, messing with drivers is better in any way than me just plugging it in, you're delusional. You're really not as smart as you think, because that doesn't make any logical sense. And it's the same thing with all these things we try to adopt. Rush to adopt, but we're not laying the groundwork for something sustainable. We're just push to adopt. Yes, yes, yes. Hype. Give me money. Whoops, no money. Bye. The end. And that's it. If we actually go down this road a little bit, we're going to start to see these things pick up, and then it's going to come right back, because other people are going to figure out ways. They're going to do the wallet for you. They're going to build the pieces for you. They're going to hold your hand and walk you through. And then everybody who left is going to come back. Oh, wow, it's popping off again. Let me come back. And that's how these things ebb and flow. But in the meantime, there's small pockets of people who say, let me show you how to do something. Let me actually focus on your understanding versus how many times I've said the same words that you never listened to in the first place. Big difference. So
Can you repeat those last words? I wasn't listening to them.
There's a difference between you speaking to someone with intent on what they understand versus how many times I've said it. And I know that sounds funny, and I talk a lot about this particular thing because I know those who do get it actually get what's on the other side. And I'm not guessing. If I know people who are in their late 60s, early 80s, all using crypto, literally making money every day, and people are going, oh, it's impossible, it's too difficult, it's too hard, or I'm so smart that I gotta give you a master class on it, all wrong, because that can't be true. Not in those cases. And maybe you say that's an anomaly, but I'm doing it all the time. And it's only because I've taken the time. So all that other stuff, especially in the dawn of AI, where you could learn everything, see everything, look everything up, it's just not true.
I'd say intention gives results. Not just how many times you say something, but the intention behind it. If the purpose of telling someone about a new technology, or it can even be like your faith, if the purpose is behind, oh, I want to make sure I say this to get another number because we need our product to be used, that's not really going to work, because the other person is a human as well. They feel your intention. But if your intention becomes, dude, you can literally make money if this just sits there. You can own the things you make, all these different benefits. When it's more about helping the person, the intention brings the results.
Yeah, there's been a lot of college students that we've been hearing from just in the last couple of days that have been super excited about the ability to use Attention Live to basically tokenize their creativity and make money from their creativity. That's a fascinating idea, especially for a community of totally connected, smart young people that are in college. Like they've been used as a consumer base. The thought for them of like, wow, there's a way for me to be creative or to co-create with AI, and then to be able to tokenize what that is and be able to sell that and make money from that. So that's been actually some really cool feedback we received the last couple of days. We're getting more and more. Yeah.
I think when I think about creativity, it also plays into the idea of influence. Now we have these technologies like Attention Live that let you turn your creativity, whatever that is, that's such a broad term, but really it just means your humanity, the stuff you make, turn that into something that can be tokenized in a way on a digital application. And now that we have that, it means the question of, okay, why does this matter? Now we have, in the next few years, so many things are going to be able to go digital. They're going to be owned by people, and they're going to be valued by people.
Yeah.
It just depends on what it is, of course. But in the same way that you value a ticket to go to a game, even when it's just in the digital form, because you know that there's a real application behind it, we'll have a similar sense with anything digital. It could even be like V-Bucks, like in Fortnite. Those were something that people really valued, but it was just an online currency.
If only the Fortnite people could own all their skins and resell those, and they're theirs, and they can customize them, make them unique through all their gameplay. Every gameplay gets badges. Like, this is the type of creativity that will be unleashed upon the next generation of gamers, where they are not just have all the same stuff that the other 500 million players have, but they're cultivating over their gameplay something that's unique and one of one. And then, how does the next generation engage with that kind of legacy of Web3 game ownership? Because so much creativity comes from games and is kind of.
I believe there are already
there.
games like that. Remember when we were on Chain Summit, San Francisco? There was a guy there.
We've seen a lot of cool things like that.
That
we
their
saw some rad
game
stuff
can
around
turn
games,
into NFTs.
Right, Singapore and Dubai. We saw crazy, amazing, effective Web3 games that were totally working.
And then if they could take all their assets from one game to another and they're interoperable, that'd be super cool. Yeah, that was you mentioned earlier about aha moments with AI. That was for me. I think it was last year, the end of 2023, early 2024, and I got deeply into using our Attention Live tool, and I was creating digital art. And I've put myself down in this low angle to show off some of my favorite oil painting. Those were analog oil paintings that I did quite a few years back. And I haven't taken those in. This is kind of inspiring me right now. I took the violinist in, that one there. And I taught AI and got AI to, I worked really hard with, the prompt engineering is not trivial. That's one of the things you learn, and you have to translate that into words and then, modify it so the AI understands your style, and then you're interacting with it and it creates something brand new. But those other two, which are I did a series of Don Miguel. They're my favorite ones. Some of my favorite ones. Taking that and then interacting with digital art, teaching AI to be, in my mind, it was a studio assistant, similar to the way Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci and every great artist we look at that from that period, Van Gogh, not, but the classical artists, they all had studios and they had assistants, and in their paintings, it's their name upon it, but they didn't paint it all. They'd have their assistants who knew their style would fill in the background and things like that. That was kind of the metaphor I saw. Now we have digital AI assistants to co-create with us with our art. Anyways, that was an aha moment of how fun that was, both what it could create, and then also how one of the real aha moments was, no, I'm creating. This has my aesthetic. Maybe I'm co-creating with the AI. It depends on how much personification you want to put into the AI. Or maybe it's just an upgraded, smarter version of Photoshop was a game changer. People could manipulate it in digital art and people were saying back then when Photoshop and digital pictures were taking over photography, they said it was going to ruin the artistic expression, and obviously that wasn't the case. So that was an aha moment for me, and it was super fun creating that stuff. And what I ended up, the kind of the workflow and the style that I ended up really resonating with is taking my analog art, digitizing it, bringing it into Facebook, into Photoshop, then creating AI works as well and pieces, bringing those into Photoshop, and then mixing them all together. And yeah, it's quite fun. In fact, I'm getting inspired talking about it.
Wow.
I love the parallel between, you look at one of those famous artists like Leonardo da Vinci, who we constantly think about him making these art, but yet he had so many people who were there helping him do just the little details, and he would be the one that kind of oversaw it and put his creativity into it. And in a way, that co-creation is what it's like to make AI images. My aha moment was the first time that I really looked at Midjourney. It was so amazing because I'd seen kind of the briefness that ChatGPT and the language models had gotten to, and it was cool, but it didn't really feel like it mattered to me because I had seen the way that Siri was able to do similar things, but yet Siri still sucked. And so there was almost like, yeah, it's just a little bump. But seeing the transformation from, I have an idea and dang, I can't draw it at all, but I think it looked really cool if I could make it. I guess I'll just have to store it in my head. But now all of a sudden I can just transfer that into words, type it as fast as I can, and bam, I get a beautiful image of whatever my idea could be. And that moment was so impactful for me. Even when Midjourney was awful, it still looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And having the ability to scroll through and see the other things people have made.
Just incredible.
I had taken like a break from making images and I was working on other stuff. And I had come back after a few months.
It's like
and I'd seen how good it got. And it was amazing. Because before I had this little idea of something. I wanted to make like a cherry blossom tree. And it was cool, but it still looked really bad. But it was still an idea that was better than me drawing on pencil and paper. But then I came back about a year later, and all of a sudden, it's a For You page of beautiful images. Just beautiful.
Crazy.
And such cool ideas, and getting to see not just what the AI had created with the ideas people have made, but seeing the ideas that people came up with. That was also super impactful for me because I would never just go on the internet and look up cool artistic ideas. That's not something I would strive to do, but seeing it on Midjourney, it taught me a lot in a way that I didn't inherently mean to. I learned a lot about what words actually make certain things appear or what correlates with this. And that as well was really valuable. In the same way that by scrolling on TikTok for too long, you can by scrolling on TikTok for too long.
How do I undo that?
So
Sorry.
Spend time realizing you've gained something from it. Is that your thing, Teddy?
No, you were inspiring me talking about this, and I was trying to show a way that I wanted to do an illustration. Sorry. So there you go. You finish your thought, and then I have my hand raised.
Are you sure you don't want to just, I mean, I could take us all off the stage if you'd like. I could just take us all off the stage and then put you on there, and then you can just start showing artwork. We're ready for it.
And this, and then
can we show this? Can we show this piece?
And he says it.
I'm serious. Okay, I guess there we go. We clicked on it. Okay, this is a famous artist, a Renaissance artist. What's his name? Okay, what's his name? His name is Johannes Vermeer. He's 1666 to 1668. No, wow, he didn't live very long. That's about the year when he painted that painting. I think he lived longer than 2 years. Anyways, It's this beautiful Renaissance painting. And I was always inspired by it. But what's interesting is we think of it as just a level of craftsmanship. Like, how can you paint so realistically back then? That was pre-photography, the lighting and all that. He had created sophisticated technology to like basically copy the image. Like he'd use the shadows and other things like that. And so it's not just artistic skill, it's technological advancement, which is interesting because we always think of the, you know, we kind of today, you can take that off now. Yeah, okay.
Now you got what you really want, Teddy.
No. I want you guys on because I'm talking to you guys. Come on. I want all four of us there. Okay. It's not the same. I can't, you know, like it boosts my ego to dominate the conversation when there's four people on. If I'm just on by myself, I'm lonely. Teddy. What the point I'm trying to make is, you know, purists. I have these arguments with my kids. My daughter's a quite creative artist, and we argue about this all the time. But, you know, they think of analog art, they think of art as analog, and they think of technology as, you know, kind of other than art. But yet, when we look back and, you know, we look at the gold standard of these Renaissance artists that just created some of these most beautiful things, and obviously there was a level of artistic skill that is other level, you know, like not just in the art, in the composition and the composing. The Stradivarius violins are the greatest things we ever, you know, created. There was this incredible artistic skill, but it was also a technological advancement. So the point as I was making is that today, when we look at AI and co-creating and we see them as new tools, there's a long history of things that we've thought of as art have also been technological advances. Like the Stradivarius violins, you could call those a technological advance that was empowering the art. And so you have these virtuoso artists who've, you know, the greatest art. I mean, they were probably the greatest artists humanity has ever created, what they could do with their instruments. But you also have technological advances. That was the point I was making.
I want to hear someone else's aha moment with AI or Web3, but probably more AI. What was one of the moments you had where it's like, oh my?
Well, hey, why don't we do that after taking a 10-minute break?
Yeah.
We like to
we got the suspense
stop
going
40 minutes in. Yeah, exactly. And then when we come back, let's do that. I'm actually going to share. I did make some songs. I've been kind of showing this process I've been refining over the days. So I'll share 3 of those songs right now. This was ChatGPT's image that it made for its song. This is the image that was made from Grok. So we'll hear the music that was created from Suno. So basically there's 3 different songs, one from Gemini, one from Grok, one from Suno. It's on this topic, how is creativity? I said, how is humans' creativity and artistry impacted by Web3 and AI? They then put together lyrics and a style. I put that into Suno, and here are 3 songs that we'll play during our break. We'll be back again in about 12 minutes. Thanks, everybody, for being with us.
Thank you, party people.
A whisper typed into the light, a flicker on the screen. A billion thoughts I didn't write, a world I'd never seen. The brushstroke moved without a hand, the colors mixed themselves. A one-man show, 100-strong band, pulled down from digital shelves. It felt like magic, pure and fast, a collaborator's dream. To build a future from the past, a thought turned to a stream. The heavy lifting gone and done in seconds, not in years. 1,000 battles fought and won without the blood and tears. But is it my soul in the wire? My ghost in this machine? Or just an echo in the fire of everything it's seen? The art is new, the code is clean, the copyrights are blurred, and in the space that lies between, I don't know who I were. Is this a voice or just a choice, a pattern in the sound? Another piece of digital noise on silent holy ground. Then came the flood, a rising tide of gray and perfect slop. A million songs with not inside a crop that wouldn't stop. My focus frayed, my memory fades, a thought I can't recall. My brain got lazy in the shade, outsourced behind a wall. I saw the ghosts of heroes pass their faces, bought and sold. A ghoulish synthetic recast, a story left untold. The jobs were hollowed one by one, the trust began to rust, and all that magic from the sun was turning into dust. But in the noise I heard a sound, a different kind of code, a signature on solid ground, a truth that can't erode. A chain of blocks, a proof of soul, a ledger clean and bright, to make the artist truly whole and give them back the right. No middleman to take their worth, no platform owns the key. A digital and sovereign birth for all the world to see. Oh, and it is my soul in the wire, my ghost in this machine. I am the spark that feeds the fire of everything it's seen. The art is mine, the choice is clear, the meaning's understood, and in the space that lies right here, I claim my flesh and blood. This is a voice, it's not a choice, a pattern in the sound, my human touch on holy ground. My human touch on holy ground. My human touch on holy ground.
Brushstrokes on canvas, whispers from the soul, dreams woven in silence, making fragments whole. No screens to dictate, just fire in the fade. Human hearts igniting, breaking every chain. But now the algorithms hum, a siren's call so sweet, stealing our visions in a digital beat. Oh, code-bound muse, you're rewriting our art. Hate floods the canvas, tearing dreams apart. Web3 lost the treasures in chains of light. Creativity's echo, lost in the night. How do we reclaim
infinite scroll under neon glow. Our minds racing 8-second loops, feeling shallow. Chasing trends and tokens, wondering what we lose or gain. As algorithms tug our hearts, are we breaking the chain? They say art's in jeopardy with metal minds on the rise. But dawn breaks in pixels, hoping our human eyes. We've got heart in the code and soul on the chain. Melodies in the matrix calling us again. No machine can steal the spark we provide. Our creativity's flame will always survive. In this Web3 dance, together we thrive. Human art lives on. Tech just helps it come alive. On a digital canvas, we paint a new light. AI as our assistant, muse dancing in bite. We meant verses on blockchain, each truth an NFT. Proof that our stories endure through eternity. No gatekeepers to hold us, we own our sound and art. Decentralized and dreaming, each creation a fresh start. We remix, go with new code and heartbeat combined. Building bridges through bandwidths that connect every mind. I felt the fear of losing my song to the stream. A ghost in the algorithm. Was it all just a dream? But the echo reminded me I am more than a tool. My soul writes the script that no way can overrule. From the ashes of doubt, a phoenix of art takes flight. Humanity remix, still creative by right. We've got heart in the code and soul on the chain. Our art transcends the tempo of that goldfish brain. Pixels or paintbrush, the vision still ours. Lighting the metaverse sky with creative stars. In this Web3 dance, united we thrive. The muse is eternal, and it's so
That was fun. That is an example of what can be created. That was just taken from the question: how is creativity impacted by Web3 and AI?
Cool.
That's what I
Take
asked.
one question.
Well,
and
I
make that.
put all three of the AIs in deep research pro mode this time, so I took more time. I did it in advance, and they came to me with, let's say, 30 pages of research on this topic.
Oh.
Only then did I give it the prompt to write lyrics and a song title. I asked for the song title to only be 1 or 2 words. They were giving me some long song titles in the last week, and they're very long songs. Most of the time, the songs I've been getting have been like 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes. These ones were like 3.5 to 4. So big thumbs up to that. We all love that, and some hearts. Danny's got the heart thing just dialed out.
You gotta figure it out. You gotta turn it on, babe. Get with me. I'll tell you, get with me after the chat. I'll let you know.
It's worth it. It's worth it. I'll do it.
Get with me after. I'll let you know.
So then just put it into Suno, the process. So I'll share the other 3 versions at the end of our time, and some of the artwork that they created as well, which I guess is their depiction of trying to tell their story. Here it comes. Here comes the hearts, everybody. I just feel so
The flexing is real.
You got it, Ted. Just keep holding it right there. It's coming any second, bro. Hold it right there.
Don't give up, Teddy.
Yeah,
Don't give up.
We'll
wait.
warm. Oh man.
Yeah, we'll wait, Ted. We'll wait for your thumbs to work. Do it.
Why is it not working? Come on, baby.
I don't know.
Show me some love here. Here, okay, here. I
The Savage is on tilt.
I do have to say there were some really powerful lines in those 3 songs. I'm actually looking forward to reading the songs one more time when we play the other 3 versions.
Mm-hmm.
It is cool how you can take things about this topic, and if you mix it into something like a song or poetry, it can it just sounds better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before the break,
if I was an artist, I'd be intimidated by that, man.
Of course, you're slightly intimidated by what I just showed?
Well, I'm not, because I'm not a musician, but I'm like, wow, this is like, like.
Well,
like,
to
me, it's like this is as good as Coldplay. So so there's like professional, legit people that are using this right now as a co-creation tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much so still co-creation. Dad spent a lot of effort making a prompt.
I don't think other
everything
people
that
are
had to do
really.
with it.
I don't think there's a lot of people that are doing the Suno outputs the way that I'm doing them. It's a very it's unique. I have a topic for our conversation for Beachside Tech Talk that I go have it do massive pro research on. Then I have it create lyrics and a song title and style out of that. Then I import it into Suno. Yeah, I mean, most people are just going in there and saying, "Hey, write me a song about breaking up. Write me a song about sobriety. Write me a song about winning. Write me a song about turkeys." Because I'm in the Aptos forest. So that is, I think, a lot of.
I don't think a lot of the free versions are going to let you explore that type of depth either.
No, the only difference on Suno between free and paid is the ability to use it commercially. So, like, I have.
I'm saying with your AI, your AI is able to do its thing.
I see.
So some of the stuff, and yeah, even experimenting with things, if on a free version, you're going to wind up being disgruntled in one way or another, because you might finally start to see something happening for yourself or something, but it's the throttling down. I think Claude is like really getting tight on some things to where you're not even able to get one response out of them. They're running off characters and off of usage, kicking me out till midnight and stuff like that. So just food for thought that if you play with AI and you're using free versions, you're limited to 3 outputs a day or this many a day. So be thoughtful what you're prompting in. Kind of think about it.
I'm going to jump on that for a second, just to give some more specific context, because Claude in particular I find is very good. It does a great job, but to Danny's point, it will be over a long period of time, because I imagine if you had the higher paid versions, you can do things a lot faster. However, without anything other than time, waiting out the time and being cognizant of where there are things like, if you use a particular model, it would have a little caveat that says this burns through your credits much faster. So and that's a default. So when you use it, you may get, like to Danny's point, you might be able to just do one search and then it doesn't work.
If you deep think and you deep research, you get one.
Not only that, there's that, plus there's a 4.1 Claude something. It's the top one, and it's the default, and it has a little like thing in quotes or something that says this uses up your credits way faster, and by way faster, it'll be if you put something in there that
you get like one prompt.
It's worse. It's worse.
It's hard to do anything,
dude. It's even worse for that particular one. If you put something in there that it finds to be too much, it will spin like it's doing something and then just eat up the credits, and you'll get nothing.
Yeah.
And then it'll
That's
say,
crazy.
come back tomorrow. And it'll just kind of, kind of keep doing that. I mean, they got to make money. So that's their justification. But the point is, I think, the key thing that I want to make, I want to explain a little bit more what Danny says is this: just because it's delayed doesn't mean that it isn't working. So manage your expectations accordingly, because what will happen is people will give up on it. And I don't think that's the proper approach. You can wait it out. It just won't be as fast. If you're, I got to have it now, then pay, but if you want to understand and learn, and I think there's a lot of value in that, because the reps and sets is what makes you good. It's what makes the process easier. It's not, someone giving you a course, because I could say a bunch of stuff that I've done and it would mean nothing to people who haven't been doing it, or less, I should say.
So, bro, if you're using it for yourself, apparently, I'm just listening. The scenario that you just put out to me was someone who has time to wait it out. Hopefully they're retired, or hopefully they, like you said, they have time to do that. Unfortunately, that it's their algorithm. They got it figured out, man. It's the way it goes. This is the way it's going. That's cool. Remember, we've been talking about it's going to be throttled down. How are they going to make money? They still haven't yet, right? How is the AI tools making money?
I think that's where part of the dichotomy is. Like, some of it is money. Like, if money, I don't think, and I feel super strongly about this, if your focus on AI is money, you're probably not going to get the most out of it.
Right.
I genuinely believe this, and here's why. Because you've prioritized it so high that you're not seeing the super low hanging fruit of, is this even providing me any value at all? And here's the simplest one. I've been doing it this week. I literally created a whole program on a friend of mine who's changing her medication. The whole thing. And I don't code, but you just go through the process. So whether you're got time, don't got time, got money, retired, not retired, you have a health problem with our healthcare system the way it is, if you use AI, you'll do better.
Mm-hmm.
You have the time, brother.
You'll make the time if you value your life. There is no if you have the time. It's if you choose or don't choose. Period.
Priority.
Right.
That's it.
Priority.
That's it. So, but it's not. But that particular thing, your health, whether you live or die, whether you have a good life or a comfortable life, or live in pain, or you whatever the case may be, that is not one of those things, because the value of it is so high. It's not one of those things that is predicated on whether you have a job or whether you're retired or anything like that.
How much time you spending online a day?
On average,
I don't know. You could say whatever
4
number,
hours.
whatever number you want, man.
4 hours, maybe 6, depending. It could be more if I'm working on a particular project. However, everything that I'm working on has some very specific value that I've pointed out. It's not novelty. And that's the difference, because to me, like, even as much as I enjoy the songs and all the stuff, and I think the technology is fascinating and make a picture and this and that, forget the money for me. What is the value of this? What is the value? Because what are we selling? Not value? Or are we focused on being salespeople? Let me sell ice to the Eskimos. Eskimos don't need ice. I don't think that's a great thing to, that's not a great metric. Just saying. So, like, to me, if you're really looking at AI as money, 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 first, second through 10th, no value, you're probably not going to get the best out of it.
Yeah, we'll see.
That is true.
I think the next year and two is going to be, everything's just moving the way it is. We'll see how it goes. Interestingly enough, my thought came into Riza had said that Manila is starting to go back to Web 2. The first thing that came through my head was, Pepsi, where is my jet? And I'm seeing a repeat of history that's actually going on. Manila's been probably, I don't want to say anything that I don't know, but it's got to be one of the highest countries of adoption of Web3 in the world, I would.
Right, for sure.
Okay. Ergo, they are the guinea pigs. I'm sorry, I said that they are the test case scenarios.
Right. That's
And
right.
now we're hearing that from Riza, and I'm sure if we looked it up, I would venture to say so much use has been out of it that the Web3 is it's still a, we don't know just yet. And the case of do good versus do bad, that's where it's all going to come out, and the adoption is going to be evaluated there. So Web3 gets used by whatever the X number of people that's being used and however it's being used, meaning crypto, memes, wallet transfers, and it's a tight group of people who actually use it. It didn't get adopted here locally for us at the DMV with the RV site and the other Web3 application dashboard that they were trying to do with the public works. People didn't want to do it. They don't want to adopt that. And what I'm trying to say is that type of adoption must come through at least 50-50. So until it's not about a coin or making a bag or whatever Web3's done in the last 5 years or so, that Manila's gotten into a thing. And I say Pepsi, where's my jet? Because the one that we saw, the Harrier jet that was being offered, that was in America. The one I'm talking about was 5 years earlier, where Manila was the test case again for the Pepsi points on a thing to win 1 million or 2 million pesos. And they messed up with it because a lot of people had won and they didn't get their prizes. So they Molotov cocktailed the Pepsi headquarters in Manila. What I'm trying to say is very angry. This isn't a thing that where there's discussions going on. Violence happened in a country because of things that were not true. So until Web3 is able to come, I'll just throw an opinion like that, till they're able to come out with something that's very non-baggage, meaning money, that has no, it's a DMV Web3. It's a social security Web3. It's a health app Web3. There's no money in it until something like that comes through. It's always going to be the way it is now, and I'm leery of Web3 too because of the things that have happened. You know, so it's a great atmosphere to get into, but very eclectic and very tight knit. The communities that we always talk about, not us here, but that you hear that have been developed or talked about, they seem gate kept in a way. Discords are it's an invite only, so we'll let you in if you come, and if we're like-minded. We want to develop a like-minded group or a community, but what type of like-minded? If it's only you got to know someone and invite to get in. I can see how that would keep your community very mind-oriented, because only the like minds are coming into there. Sorry about that.
Hearts.
Sorry about that.
You feel so loved.
But I'm not trying to come in on a negative thing. I found it very interesting that Manila is doing a repeat because they are the country who did the most adoption. And I don't think it's more to the fact of just safety. I think that there are not only that they got kind of hit from anything outside the country, even their own people in their own country, and are doing it to themselves because people are able to make money in the country. So that's dangerous too, because now my own people are telling me to do these things and I trust them much more than I trust another country. And so we have a mass kind of adoption that became, I don't want to say a pull of some kind, but people aren't happy. So they're going back to Web 2, or they're going until the trust is built there. But I think that we're working on it, and hopefully we have this governance thing or something else that comes up on the block that has nothing to do with a monetary value, such as a DMV, such as a social security, such as a health plan, public health plan, that's governmental health, or something that's like that, where there isn't earnings to be involved. Because I even feel like the Bitcoin right now, I watch it a lot. It's amazing that since it hit 100, you're going to find these daily fluctuations from 100 to 115, maybe even 120. It got into 121 for a minute. And these are the people who are making the money on that particular transaction are maxis. They're able to trade, 50 coins. They're running 50 coins. I've been in different groups, and it's hybrid. They're run by Citigroup Bank is now doing these things into Bitcoin maxis, creating accounts, and then what I'm trying to say is that 100 to 115,000 is happening like this on a daily basis, because it's literally like the stock market. If you have 50 or 100 coins to put into that you're playing with, and it goes up 15% from 100 to 115 in a day, you have no idea. Stack that up on 50 coins. You're making 100 grand a day. So these fluxes that we're seeing that are consistent from 100 to 120, and they constantly bounce up and down. These are things. This is a Web3 area, and totally awesome. They're able to make, it's a stock market and make the values up. But until you can enter that zone to where you carry that much coin, you're not going to. Say you have $10,000 in Bitcoin today, you can enter that realm too, and maybe you'll make $37 today. So it's just not there. But I hope that Web3 adoption is able to come through to a click to where we attach it to something that can be adopted. Like I said, I'll say it like a public works, like a DMV. That seems to be the easiest. Registering your vehicle is do it online or something. The voting that we're talking about, those Web3 adoptions are going to bring it in to people adopt, not when it's get a wallet, secret phrase, let's do a transaction, and anything you do you got to put money into that wallet, because anything you ever do, unless it's given to you, if you want to transact, to cost you money on every transaction. So you must go from your bank account into a Coinbase or a platform that's able to let you have the transaction values. You need to know how your wallet is actually working. And just to Riza's point, once you get a wallet, that's when the rug comes, the pull, because now you've got a wallet and you have it able, and you put $20 in. Someone out there, unfortunately, is about, you might lose the 20 or whatever the case may be. So when we get out of something where it's monetized, maybe wait for the adoption of monetization. That's not going to happen either, because of where it's at right now. But when we get into something where it's not a monetary system in Web3, that's when we're gonna find more adoptions. Nigel and I, we're talking about simple thing like a library card. A library card adoption is going to could bring millions of people into the Web3. The wallet that they adopt with is an expunged wallet. You're never gonna put your bank account to it. It's only to interact freebie with a DMV, with something. You're not going to do transactions on it. So you don't need to put your bank account into it. That's where the adoption is going to come through the easiest way. When it's a free thing, there's no harm for me. I'm not going to lose my bank bag. I'm not going to need it. If I lost the wallet, who cares? I get another one. I go back and reinstate my DMV. Secret free. Who cares? No money involved. That's how we're going to get people who are in Web 2 who want to adopt into Web 3, or eventually it's going to slowly, they'll see the slow, it'll take years, 2, 3, 4, the slow adoption.
Well, it's interesting you say that. You sparked a lot of things that one, I agree with you 100%. And I thought about the fact that I feel like the portions around commerce are amplified, and the portions that are not are not. Like on this show, we had talked about, and this was maybe a couple months back, an application where they were verifying doctor volunteers during an emergency situation. Had nothing to do with money. And it took the process that used to take 2 weeks down to 2 hours. That is an adoption that can work, that has nothing to do with commerce. But even further to your point, Danny, which I think is great. Why not? The government has enough, pull with Coinbase. Set up wallets that you can't do financial transactions on just for adoption. Why not do that? And force it. If you can force TikTok to sell, right? Or have an American huge stake, you can absolutely do that. Like, to say that that's not possible, that's not true. Because now you would have like Danny and I've had endless conversations about this, just the term wallet. and the angst it brings in people. Wallet, what? Take that away with you can't. If you ever seen a Bronx Tale where guy locks the door and says, now you can't leave, good. Now you can't make fees.
Right.
Now you can't do commerce. Now you can't rug pull. It's not possible. Good.
Right.
Now we have a common ground, a level playing field, and now we can work through adoption. The point is, I think there are places where these things are being implemented and we just don't know about them because the noise or the volume on the commerce and make money and fees, just to give an example of how much it's like the stock market and the fees. BlackRock is making a ton of money on fees, whether, Bitcoin goes up or down, it doesn't matter.
No,
That's right.
And I watched the last episode of that Wall Street Titans,
that's
and they
the
talked about Michael Milken and Ivan Boesky with the junk bond trading. They both made $3 million on the transaction. That was one of their deals.
But homie,
Michael Milken, $66 million on fees.
on transactions.
Are you kidding me?
That's the bread. That's the thing.
You take that off the table, different game. I feel like you touched on something there, Danny, that I feel it's not just, I think it's bigger than finding other ways that, other than
kind of complicated. That's all.
No, I think you uncomplicated it. Honestly, you uncomplicated it.
It's these are the things. The easiest path is, man, if there's money there and it's new, everyone gonna jump on board until it's not new anymore. Then it starts. That's what. So it's not new anymore. Hence, the Manila or another country deciding to go, whoa. I'm going to keep my phones. I'm just not going to do anything on the Web3 for a minute until I don't feel the way I do right now. For whatever reason, someone verbally bashed me. It doesn't matter. Whatever. I didn't like the AI content that came. Whatever the case may be, doesn't have to even be money. But that uncomfortableness of yeah, let's go, and you hear too much. It's not 50-50. So until you have things,
it's win-lose versus just win.
It's this, and then it's this, and then it gets taller. And then you have panic or you have untrust. That's literally not just talked about so much. Verification, transparency, trust. No, you have people in nationalities that hit the pause button big time. So much so that they go, whoa. I'm going back. Reza had said that because they feel safer. That's very interesting to hear. They feel safer going backwards to anything. Not Web3, Web2. No, talking about cars, flight, planes. We don't go backwards. We're not going back to props. We're in a jet age.
Uh-huh.
We're in ion fuel technology. We don't go back. And when back happens, that's an only path out of panic, anxiety, or something. It's not the lovey-dovey, let's go team, forward like that. So it's awesome to hear those pause points, like Reza's saying, like a Manila or a Thailand or a Vietnam, these more poorer countries who are able to adopt and buy $100 phones or, able to get on. Having multiples going, having two phones going makes me think like, wow, you're like really into whatever it is and you're separating. And I hope that, you really know what's going on or because I'm not on, I have two phones, but I don't use them like that. I don't carry them with me. Let's go. We're going to adopt things very soon. I really feel it. I see the voting coming on. Come on, everybody. Anyone listening, just start bringing it up. You want to vote on your phone? So easy. Blockchain, immutable, very transparent. Try one. Let's get the vote for the local pier to be rebuilt on the block. You showed the fireworks show. Seems like everybody likes that show. It's very cool. Let's do a block fireworks thing. It's anything. It has to be simple, fun, You get people in, and then the people you talk to, or you can, I don't know, do a doc. Do a video of your own, because again, months ago I had mentioned about wallet adoption, because I kind of got into the wallet scene for a minute.
Right.
That's a whole nother talk, and not just one talk, because again, dealing with wallet, you might as well say your money when you say wallet.
Right. That's how people think of it, and the reality is that's where you put
that's what it is.
valuable assets, whether it's cryptocurrency or collectible.
I myself have been scammed on OpenSea 3 times. Not lately, but the first couple of years. Yeah. And it wasn't bad, but it was a snake of an NFT, or it was something. Yeah, that's like, whoa. After a couple of times, I'm like, I'm not even looking at OpenSea. And if I do, I got to go VPN and go a different, or, some other route, just because a couple times things happened through the OpenSea, and I don't know what it was. I haven't been on there for years. So
I think between me and Riza and the boys, I've opened across all the different chains. I think I've opened probably a couple dozen wallets.
Yeah, well,
I've never been scammed. I don't do a lot of transactions, but
Funny
I've never
you say that.
so far. I'm grateful for that. But the one time I did get scammed was Coinbase, the centralized exchange Coinbase wallet. I got a text.
I remember that.
And I called, and on the phone with the scammer, I'm like, this is weird. I'm going to add Google Authenticator to Coinbase. And the person on the phone's like, that would make it safer. And
but that would kick me out. I wouldn't be able to rug pull you.
And then I fell for their scam after I did that. And they got into my account and changed all of my portfolio.
Your NFTs, right? Your NFTs.
No. This is just my crypto that was in the centralized Coinbase wallet.
Oh,
they
okay.
took my portfolio of all the different cryptos that I had collected over the 5 years. They put it all into one, but they couldn't get it out.
They couldn't send that.
I just added the Google Authenticator on the phone talking to the scammer. So, and it happened a few hours before I'm flying from here to Manila.
Whoa.
So now I'm on the plane for 16 hours. Like, damn,
Didn't you feel like you're like kind of walking around in your underwear or something? Like, man,
I felt a lot of emotional.
Not only am I chilly, I cold. I feel like
emotional feelings.
I feel like is my zipper down? I feel violated somehow.
Then I got to Manila and I worked it out, and we didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
But man, that was a weird experience. So isn't that interesting? I have all these decentralized wallets. I have MetaMasks for everyone in our family. I have Solana Phantom wallets for everybody in the family. I have Hedera, 2 different Hedera wallets for everyone, Cardano wallets for everyone, etc. And I'm very thankful that, as far as I know, we've never been scammed. We never keep a lot of assets in a singular wallet. Although when
thank you for saying that. Very, very kind.
I mean, because I do expect that at any moment, if a really great scammer really wanted to hack us, and they're like top of their class, they're world-class scammers, hackers, whatever, I assume that like I'm fairly vulnerable. So I never keep enough assets, and it's one reason why we have lots of wallets too. There's that. So, but yeah.
I'm looking forward to, if we have anything that's governmentally adopted, that DMV. I don't want to say Social Security, because that's kind of like that's one pretty tight. But a healthcare, a DMV parking tickets, anything traffic related and stuff like that. It's easily adoptable. There is no purchase buy. It's just something that's true, immutable, and anything that's in there is easily visualized and can't be touched or changed. So pretty simple. That seems to be, again, when we do this, I don't know, but there's going to be something that is simple for people to use. I'm bummed that it didn't work with the RV thing. I thought that was a great a great tip. So basically, only people, they have a bread already. They got an RV. They got a drivable RV that needs to be registered. They don't use it that much. It's a few times a year. It can.
It was the wrong application. They should have done
It
something.
wasn't not a lot of people. It wasn't, not everyone has RV, very low. So, but it was a good idea to see if people can come into it.
I'd be interested to know how many people they act, because they said the number was so low, the adoption. We could have probably walked over to people with RVs and got a bigger adoption. It doesn't make sense.
I have the document that I did on that somewhere in my computer, and it was amazing. It was
the company that did it.
They spent
paid.
They had less than 10 wallet adoption.
The company that built it, cool guys, great company. They've done a lot of great work, but they volunteered to do this. So since the product was built for free, nobody valued it. There was no sacrifice for it. So there was no marketing toward it. Therefore, you get 10 users through word of mouth because they never marketed it and promoted it, or maybe it didn't work great. And so they felt kind of.
That's the point. I think that, they brought into someone. So it needs to be government. They need to do their own. Government does. So we haven't figured, good point. Where are the government Web3 wallets? Who has them? Because I'm not going to hear that there aren't any. Who has them? Where are they located? And how do they function on them? What are they using?
Did you just say good point to your thought?
I second that. It was a great point.
And yes, where are the government wallets? Why don't we know that where they exist?
There aren't. It's not zero. The number's not zero.
Or wallets the government holds, that you could probably the public keys probably are available somewhere, but I imagine they don't tell anybody who has access to them.
We don't have an agency even built for it. There is no agency for that yet. That's what I'm saying. We need a Web3 agency.
David Sachs is the crypto AI czar, so either he has something that's
crypto AI czar. That's because we're going to adopt Bitcoin, though, right? We need to adopt.
David Sachs was one of the founding guys at PayPal.
It's funny that
hold on one second. He's one of the lead VCs in America. He's one of the top podcasters in America. And then he built two other companies. I think it was Yammer. I think he was the founder and CEO of Yammer. And then he was the first big money into Solana, from what I understand. And then he did a lot of VC investing the last decade into all the Web3 and crypto and AI fields. So I thought it was super positive when he got the role to lead AI.
He can't be in. He can't have nothing to do with it. No money can be in there. No dude with big bags or nobody. It has to. What I'm saying is, it has to come from government. This is something we should vote in, and it's not a dude. And kudos.
Yeah, I agree. That's where we have to get to.
You mentioned that way. That way, no one's made the government. It's on the government's thing. So the wallets.
I think a lot of things start off informal, and you kind of build formality around things. And I think what we want people to demand is, we want people to demand that they are involved in what becomes of these industries and the regulations and compliances in a formal regard.
So here's where I see it real quick. The government is having a hard time doing anything because of liabilities. Even if it's free, there is no money involved. The government adopts wallets. That's why we don't know. To say that our United States has zero Web3 wallets, we got crypto, we got Saks, there's public entities, our government, there's wallets somewhere. Whether they're being used or propagated, we know about them or not, that doesn't matter until the money's not in there, like we do a system or program. And if it's government oriented, there's not only the government would make money, but they're not going to do it for money because it's our government. We run the government, ergo. So keep the money of VCs or anyone out of it. Try to adopt. I'm going to go by. It's the only one that keeps coming in. Try and adopt a registration for your vehicles. Everyone has one. It's hundreds of millions of vehicles. No harm, no foul. You don't need to have money in your wallet. It's just you have a wallet that keeps control of the documentation reoccurring yearly instead of you having it go through the mail or you having to go down to a building to do it. I think that's a great fun. Hundreds of millions of adopters coming in. The government runs the wallet system. As they do this, they have to retroactively build the exact opposite, a digital jail.
Right.
You act bad, you do, so you can't build anything with no circumstance, no repercussions, no consequence, no contingency. And that's where we're at. Today in Web3, there is no contingency. There's no I'm coming to you do something bad. Ha ha ha. Here, put the cuffs on. No. Until that happens, there you got common sense. We're not going to have adoption. So we can't bring the wallets in. We can't bring them anything in when there's no recourse of action for bad players. Once we have a penal code today for us to keep people from going out acting stupid, hurting people, robbing them, banging them on the head. So that's, and I'm kind of speaking, it's kind of futuristic, but let's think about it. That's kind of fact. We can talk about any kind of adoption all day long. Until you talk about the other side. Great, let's do all of this. We're living on Earth in a realistic world. This isn't heaven just yet. So we're going to have more bad than good until you get something that has a compensation package. So if you act bad, and I don't know, if you act bad in Web3, maybe you just get kicked out. So you can try and nefariously come back in, but it just, I don't know. I don't know how they'll build that, because you can go around things to come back in. But whoever develops a persona or a vision or something, they got to put their face on it, got to put the name on it. Can't be just a fake website. So these things are going to slowly flow into a government agency or a government system. They're going to be the ones that's going to have to spend $1 billion on defense of the Web3 until we have a defense system built in, because the block is immutable, but scams aren't. So until we have something that's at least predicated with some kind of a formation, if you do bad, this world is going to always be that way. So you got to put the barriers up for the people, because today, to me, in Web3, it's more do bad or pretend to do good than religious sects, actually benevolently giving. And what is being given on Web3, we don't really know yet. Sermons. Right. So that adoptions, it's got to be a little bit slower. I think we have to put these other things into place. And unfortunately, doing that, you've taken the decentralized away from it.
Right.
I'm talking about a government agency running this, because so again, that's the whole, I've just deleted the whole point of the Web3, not having an oversight committee running everything, because we want to run it. We don't want the government running it. So I just ran myself into a circle and kicked myself on the butt just now. But I think it was great to, thank you for let me open that up. Good food for thought. I'm that guy. I want to talk so much about just everything. It's so wonderful, so good and everything. And I'm not trying to talk bad. I'm just saying, as we do this, we have to pump the brakes a little bit, because if we live in a world of just that, so we wind up getting into unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah. I mean, optimism is okay, but when you have an optimism that ignores the possible negatives,
it's called delusion, brother. It just gets a little delusional, you know, to where
delusional. Sounds better when you sing it.
But I thank you, Riza, for bringing that in today. That was a God note that you brought that up today. Wow, because Manila is pumping on Web3. They're banging. You guys have teams out there. You're doing the do. So, amazing.
It's just the Gen Zs are more into Web3, but those who are not Gen Zs, like our age, they're like
those who've made money.
They try to Web3 and they see they can see that it's like complicated, and that's why they will just go back to traditional or Web2. Others, if you teach them the digital wallet,
How about the fact that you can't do one without the other just yet? You can't get a wallet at all without Web2, babe. Right. No one's bringing. I mean, we don't talk. We're not thinking about that. So Web3, let's go. Well, Web3 is predicated on Web2, and it's still actually the skeleton bones of Web3. So if you beat up on Web2, you have a boneless structure And imagine if you took all the bones out of your body, you would fall to the ground and not be able to move. So that structure, the bones, the foundation, the organization, the rules with consequence, because we're all going to play this thing. There is no consequence just yet. So it's going to be Wild West until, I believe. And unfortunately, the world we live in, if it's an easy bag, that's where it's going to go. It's not going to. So we need to somehow even it out a little bit. Ian, I love all we talk about is the benevolence, the philanthropy, the giving, the loving. That's the motion. The only thing that's going to move that. People that care. Always bringing up these topics too, though, that we're still in. We still are conscious to these to the other thing. The Web 2 has to be. I don't know when Web 2 will go away. I hope it doesn't. We use it all the time. And again, Web 3 is based off of Web 2. You get rid of Web 2, you can't do Web 3. So it's not by itself yet. It's tied in. It's Web 2.5. It's Web 2.3.
Yeah, Web 2.5. There is.
Whatever. They're just going to be connected. We're not going to, like the Web 1 that we left, that old static page, that we left. But unfortunately, Web 2 is a banging thing, and it is safe. I'm so glad you brought that up. I thought about it for a second, like, wow, Web 2 seems a little rudimentary, maybe a little bit antiquated, but I mean, you could still get hacked, but it is very safe. Billions of people using Web 2, maybe hundreds of millions using Web 3, if that. I don't know yet. So the scale that's there. And thank you for letting me share that. That was something that had come into my head. Pepsi, my jet, happened to Manila before. It's a repeat thing. And it happens in countries and things that repeatedly, because that's the easiest path to travel.
Right.
That's why it repeats itself. History most of the time does repeat it. If we don't watch it, we don't change it and implement things into place to again, it's going to happen. But we're the people, right? We are the 5. We are the 27 and 5. We're the 32 right now who at least we had a discussion on. We can start here again. Our scales are more even.
Yep.
Let's build on that.
Love it.
Love it.
Well, let's end on that. I'm going to transition us to sharing the last 3 songs. We did talk about Midjourney today. So I'm going to share some stuff I created with Midjourney.
Can we just have let's you still got 5 minutes, right? Before first 2. Why don't Nigel say, bring in something else. Malachi, you too, and Riza, thank you for bringing that up. I'm like full of energy right now from this conversation. I'm seriously, my mind is going left and right at the same time.
It might as well be going forward and backwards as well.
Up and down.
Yeah. Nigel,
talk to us.
I think just the capstone what you said, and I think that this was no. This is gonna be quick. I think the real where we are right now, it's guardrails versus regulation. I think the win-lose scenario is not one that is helpful to adoption. If it's like, think about bowling. If you can't throw a gutter ball, you're going to be more comfortable rolling down the aisle, because if you roll into the gutter all the time, or more likely to have that happen. I don't think the answer is, well, if you roll the ball in the gutter, you're going to go to jail or something like that. I don't think the punitive angle is really it. I don't think that really fosters adoption as much either. I think it's putting up those guardrails. Come up with a chain that just doesn't allow for that type of monetary transaction.
Nonsense.
That's it. Just take out all the money. This is for.
If you do have one of these, I think that it'll be such a pleasing thing to see. Mark interest. I don't know if you heard that. I think you know what I'm saying. I think that if whoever builds something that's like Attention Live is a great product that's helping people. Can be very helpful. Lots of products can be helpful to people. AI is here for us free. It's helping us. So we can't. I'm not trying to throw stones everywhere. And thank you, Nigel, for bringing that up with the defense part of it. I just was trying to say, just like in a natural world, you have these pros and cons and they balance themselves out. It keeps people in check. We don't, always want to be the greatest person. Sometimes you have doy thoughts go through your mind, and but thank God we can come back to the grace of we aren't that we can come back to the doing good.
Right.
So it seems so simple. If people really want to do better for other people, it's just a no-brainer, but it seems that way kind of not. And I don't know. I can't even put words onto that. But loving and being helpful, it feels great. I love helping people. I'm helping someone right now for the last 7 days.
Wow.
So
Teddy, any final thoughts, my friend?
Yeah. Creativity's awesome. Let's be creative.
Love you, Ted.
Be creative.
So let me show you, Teddy, what I've been doing with AI. And pretty soon we'll have a strong Web3 tie-in to this. I've been doing this every day. Today, one of the changes is I used Midjourney as well. I think Midjourney, we were talking about how it's part of Malachi and my aha moment. I think a lot of people have had aha moments with Midjourney a couple years back when it started off in Discord. So this is the image that Midjourney created for Gemini, from Gemini's song or lyrics. This is zoomed in.
Does it have a theme title or anything that said like girl in thought, or does it have anything like that, like a name of the?
It always describes it, right?
That specific prompt was hyper-realistic cinematic digital painting of a female artist caught between two worlds. On her left, a chaotic storm of glitching pixels, digital static, and soulless AI-generated faces threaten to overwhelm her. One of her hands dissolves into this digital noise. On her right, a serene, glowing, crystalline structure of interconnected blocks representing a blockchain ledger offers stability and truth. Her other hand firmly touches one of the glowing blocks, which pulses with a warm human light. The artist's face is a mix of anxiety and defiant resolve. The lighting is dramatic with high contrast, creating a melancholy an epic atmosphere in the style of a modern indie album cover. Intricate detail, 8K, emotional, ethereal, glowing particles, immutable stone, soul in wire. So that was the prompt that Gemini
How did you
wrote.
get to that prompt? Gemini wrote the prompt.
Yes, based off of the song lyrics it wrote for me. And then this is what Midjourney can now do.
The anime.
Yeah, so now Midjourney can now do video.
The Giphy, the anime Giphy.
That's right. So now you start thinking about Attention Live and you start realizing, wow, you can pick up any topic you want, any song style you want, anything that you want to say. You can just take all the things that you've said the last year or last 10 years on social media. And as you do that, you can then put that into these AI tools. They can output data and research around it. They can write lyrics, give you song titles and styles. They can write prompts, text to image for things like Midjourney. All of a sudden, you have a Giphy from Midjourney and a song from Suno that was all co-created with you leveraging these tools at the outer after you work with the AI that you seem to collaborate with best on the inner. And then you start thinking about being able to create these things as digital assets of value using a system like Attention Live to broadcast this to every single social media site while it's the most universal way to tokenize on chain. This is what Midjourney created. I think this is the distant image brought to life.
That's it.
This one is the close image brought to life.
Huh. Pretty cool.
Wow, I love that.
And then
Keeps ending.
this
Why
is the
why
close
can't you
image.
leave it up there? Can it repeat?
Those are cool.
And then this is the distant image. And then finally, this one is ChatGPT. And this is what Midjourney, again, created for ChatGPT. And then this is how that image can come to life.
I have a question.
Huh.
This
And then this is distant. One second.
This-
Okay, go ahead.
this arts that you're showing
Yeah.
were created using AI, right?
This is Grok, ChatGPT,
Yeah,
or Gemini
yeah.
giving me a text to image prompt. When I gave that text image prompt back to them, I actually didn't like the way that it looked.
Okay.
So I took the text image prompt and I put it inside
Midjourney.
and then I created the Midjourney output. Then I 1/4 zoomed out, so it's add 75% to the image, and then I created moving images of both, so I could see which one I liked better.
So my question is, who do you think will be called creative? Is it you or the AI?
Well, humans are creative, and I am leveraging the collective creativity of billions of humans by using one or many, in my case, multiple of these different AI LLMs. So
people
I
will
am
say, Ian is creative.
the way I would see
They
it is
will not
I
say-
am leveraging
Okay.
a technology automation to co-create with all of humanity. So I am not the creator of all of this output. I am co-creating with the collective data of all of humanity, the collective artistry of all of humanity, the collective pictures, images, songs, lyrics, poems, with all of humanity. I'm co-creating with that, leveraging, in my case, multiple tools that I've paid a commercial licensing payment monthly in order for me to be able to have that content. And under the US, it happened like a year and a half ago, they passed a law. As long as you made a tweak, it wasn't just a prompt, but you did more than just a prompt, then you are free to distribute and sell and make money and commercialize that content. So I've built systems by which I automatically go through the process, and at the end result, I co-create with humanity using one or more tools, and I did it in a way that I can claim that it's something that I have stewarded.
So-
therefore, I'm able to share it or even sell.
So it's
And there you have it for all you brand new
Are
people
you
out
going to put your signature on it? Have you created an NFT, and do you have an NFT collection of these, or you're going to have one?
Both.
Sure, yes, I do. And signature, no, because again, I don't consider this to be my own creation. I don't think of myself as a songwriter or a musician or a singer.
I
don't
do
consider-
believe you are, because you are the AI is the brush and you are the painter. Something
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, I'm
think
definitely
it's
doing
different.
this
It's
in a way
fundamentally
where I'm
different
putting all the
because-
weight of creativity on the shoulders. If you look at my prompts put the majority of weight upon the AI tool. So I don't even take a leading creative director role in.
Yeah, but that's also like saying the orchestra conductor.
I just think
is
there's
not-
two. I just think there's
You're
two
an
different
orchestra
ways. I think
conductor,
there's two
and
different
you have
ways.
you have an orchestra of
No.
robots.
Hold on. There's two different ways of creating with AI. There is the way where you go in and you're like toiling and manually thinking about things, and you're doing every little piece and part. And then there's the way where you go to AI and you have AI help you write a prompt, or where you basically are very, very quick little things and guiding the AI to the output that you want. Especially in my case, where I'm not even reading the lyrics before I put it in Suno. I'm not even reading the text to image prompt before I put it in Midjourney. I don't change a single thing. I don't change any of the Midjourney text image prompt or any of the Suno lyric or style guide prompt. I take whatever the AI out gives me and I put it into these tools because I want that journey from beginning to end to give the tool collaboration its ability to give the output. And
What's
I like what I see.
interesting is you're describing a process very similar. One, you're using all these different AI tools, okay, and you're talking about how you hold the brush. You hold the brush really lightly. You're describing something that's not very different than, or is comparable at least, to an orchestra conductor. You're also describing a process very similar to when I self-taught myself how to oil paint. Like I was co-creating with humanity. You can see that I was influenced by Van Gogh and Picasso and many others, Cezanne and all of these. I was learning from them. And then I was, like when you talk about just letting the process and its results, I mean, that was very similar. Like a lot of my style was me learning my own limitations, what I was good at, what I wasn't good at. I arrived at this 2-color drawing style, one, because I learned that, well, I actually kind of evolved to it. Then I learned that was a tradition. They used to draw their whole paintings in a cartoon like that before they put colors on it. But a lot of it was my own limitations, like the canvas and the painting. Like I'm trying to learn how to use it, and I'm fighting against it. And then I just wait and see what the process produces. So
Sweet.
yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. Like I remember when I was in college, our music department had a rehearsal, and how cutting edge the professor was, because he had worked with a Macintosh, and the Mac was up there. It was all alone on the stage, and it was performing a piece that he had worked with it. And I remember all of these things that we're saying, like, is he even really an artist? It was the computer doing it. It was very cutting edge. And this was just like, early synthesizer days. And he had, the Mac was performing.
So here's the thing. So Ted, I'm gonna jump in. So here's the thing. There's a problem of people trying to take too much credit when they co-create with AI. There's also a problem of people saying that individuals should have no credit for co-creating with AI.
Yeah.
It's a very simple happy middle where I leveraged all of human data through one or more automation tools to co-create something that I don't really take credit for. I stewarded a process that most likely was for me, my benefit. I'm not creating a song because I'm going to put it on Spotify and get billions of listens. I'm not creating an image because I'm going to print out, posters and sell them. I'm creating an image for the topic for our Beachside Tech Talk. I'm creating a song around the topic for our Beachside Tech Talk for me, for the five of you, for the audience that's watching us live, which we thank you for your attention, or watch us afterwards. And so a lot of the co-creation we do doesn't even get commercialized in the first place. So anyways, I'm going to share these 3 songs now because we're at
Time.
Top of the hour.
Time.
So this is the one for ChatGPT, which I haven't shown you guys yet, zoomed out. That was a zoomed in. But we're going to go ahead and start with Gemini. So this is Gemini's. Again, this is the close animation Midjourney made. So you imagine that as a Giphy for an NFT. This is the distant animation that Midjourney made.
Wow.
And then this is a distant image. And now I'll pop that song on. So here is the second version of Gemini's song.
Right.
It's
Adios,
called
everybody.
Echo
Love you
Chain.
guys.
Peace, everyone.
Bye.
A whisper typed into the light, a flicker on the screen. A billion thoughts I didn't write, a world I'd never seen. The brushstroke moved without a hand, the colors mixed themselves. A one-man show, 100-strong band pulled down from digital shelves. It felt like magic, pure and fast, a collaborator's dream. To build a future from the past, a thought turned to a stream. The heavy lifting gone and done in seconds, not in years. 1,000 battles fought and won without the blood and tears. But is it my soul in the wire, my ghost in this machine, or just an echo in the fire of everything it's seen? The art is new, the code is clean, the copyright's a blur, and in the space that lies between, I don't know who I were. Is this a voice or just a choice, a pattern in the sound? Another piece of digital noise on silent holy ground. Then came the flood, a rising tide of grace. perfect slop. A million songs with not inside a crop that wouldn't stop. My focus frayed, my memory fades, a thought I can't recall. My brain got lazy in the shade, outsourced behind a wall. I saw the ghosts of heroes past their faces, bought and sold. A ghoulish synthetic recast a story left untold. The jobs were hollow, one by one the trust began to rust. And all that magic from the sun was turning into dust. But in the noise I heard a sound, a different kind of code, a signature on solid ground, a truth that can erode a chain of blocks, a proof of soul, a ledger clean and bright, to make the artist truly whole and give them back the right. No middleman to take their worth, no platform owns the key. Is clear, the meaning's understood, and in the space that lies right here I claim my flesh and blood. This is a voice, it's not a choice, a pattern in the sound. My human touch on holy ground. My human touch on holy ground.
Strokes on canvas, whispers from the soul, dreams woven in silence, making fragments whole. No screens to dictate, just fire in the vein. Human hearts igniting, breaking every chain. But now the algorithms hum, a siren's call so sweet, stealing our visions in a digital beat. Oh, cold-bound muse, you're writing our eye. Floods the canvas, tearing dreams apart. Oh, every lock's the treasures in chains of light. Creativity's echo lost in the night. infinite scroll under neon glow. Our minds race in 8-second loops, feeling shallow, chasing trends and tokens, wondering what we lose or gain as algorithms tug our hearts. Are we breaking the chain? They say art's in jeopardy with metal minds on the rise, but dawn breaks in pixels, hope in our human eyes. We've got heart in the code, soul on the chain, melodies in the matrix, calling us again. No machine can steal the spark we provide. Our creativity's flame will always survive. In this AM3 dance together we thrive. Human art lives on. Tech just helps it come alive. On a digital canvas, we